What's up, music fans? My
My
name is
name's
Jackson.
Jackson.
Today I'm reacting to GORILLAZ, the debut. Oh man, it's been months since my last GORILLAZ reaction, and I love this band so freaking much, man. I first reacted to Demon Days months ago, based off of a recommendation from my close friend. And that was, honestly, I can truly say that was a life-changing day for me. GORILLAZ is probably the second most listened to artist I've had since I reacted to Demon Days, which is saying something considering A, how much music I listen to, and B, how many new artists I've discovered in the past year since I started this channel. But even crazier than that, they've been in the rotation more than everything else in my music palette, despite me only having heard 2 of their records. Plastic Beach and Demon Days are 2 completely separate entities, yet you can tell they're made by the same artist even without the vocal delivery being 2D, because of how eclectic GORILLAZ is, but how eclectic GORILLAZ is in their lane. I think the pacing of Damon and the way he makes his music is very, very specific to his own style. He's able to play any instrument you can name, but in his own way. He incorporates newer hip-hop sounds along with different elements of grunge, and he's able to put them into a song pretty seamlessly. But the coolest thing to me about GORILLAZ is that they're able to make pop hits without selling out and making watered down music. The electric sound of Plastic Beach is so eerie when you consider the demonic fuel that creates this fabricated sense of security. Whereas Demon Days is completely upfront with how it wants you to feel, and the end of the album feels like a breath of fresh air because you've gone through these really dark, demonic songs like Kids with Guns, Last Living Souls. And as the album gets more and more mindless, we finally make it through the Demon Days, and the closing track sounds like you've found the light at the end of the tunnel. And so I guess my question is, will this album have such a deep theme, or is it just going to be a collection of good GORILLAZ songs? We're going to find out, man. This has more songs than both Plastic Beach and Demon Days, but I'm excited to just expand my horizons with this band that I love so much. Hey, quick reminder, if you guys could go down there and subscribe, it's the best way to support me. It makes me feel so good when I see that number go up. Thanks so much for doing that. Let's do a quick prayer before we get into this reaction. God, thank you so much for this platform that I have, and thank you for giving me the articulation to entertain people that sit down and watch me listen to music. It's such a blessing, Lord. Give me the strength and the wisdom to articulate myself in a way that glorifies you, and that hopefully brings people towards you instead of away. That, after all, is the purpose of my life. Let's do this. GORILLAZ self-titled debut. Okay, so if this is anything like the rest of Damon's music, it seems that he's criticizing the mainstream music scene here. Obviously, this idea of money being the main goal, the main purpose of making your music, he uses that theme a lot, and I really like the integration over here. This track, actually, it's funny, I just got done reacting to a Nirvana album. This felt like another Nirvana song just performed by 2D. Not the sound I love hearing the most from GORILLAZ, but definitely an interesting way to open up this project.
My job for me, my job make no sound. Echo for me underground. Magic on me, it make my heart beat no sound, 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 beat no sound. She turned my dad on. My job for me, my job get me through. Walk through you, 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 walk through you.
Again, keeping a similar aesthetic to kind of paying homage to this grunge vibe, but in a Gorillaz fashion. I do like this a lot. I love how tongue-in-cheek 2D's vocals are on the verses. He kind of sounds like he's making fun of somebody, like a mean girl. Magic for me. It's oddly comedic in a way that only Damon would be able to pull off. And then I love the background vocals from Noodle kind of laying the foundation for the melodies that develop throughout the track. Some really brisk synthesizers reminds me of like November Has Come off of Demon Days. Nothing too crazy or lush instrumentally though, and you gotta keep in mind this was 2001, so I'm interested to see if he takes a new direction or if he stays in this grunge electro vibe. Woo! Woo! This is it. This is right here. Woo! Dude. Oh my gosh, yes. The steady kicks and then the snares with the percussions. Absolutely brilliant. And then we have, was that a harmonica chord progression? Absolutely ridiculous. It brought a really organic sound that we haven't gotten so far in this record, and I think it rounded out this song really well. I love 2D's vocal pattern on the first verse. I think he goes into this low vocal pocket that works really well in a depressive state. And then we have this outro with the whistling, and it kind of just leaves you feeling like this song was a campfire story or a session where they're talking about the blues. Absolutely brilliant. My favorite so far. This is the kind of Gorillaz that I really like. I really like this one as an album cut. Wasn't too great otherwise, but good song. Oh shoot. Okay, this song is probably in Gorillaz' like top 3 most popular, and I've never heard it, and I've purposely abstained from listening to it for the sake of doing a reaction to it. So hope you guys like this.
I ain't happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. It's 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 coming on.
Finally, someone let me out of my cage. Now, time for me is nothing cause I'm counting no A's. Nah, I couldn't be there. Nah, you shouldn't be scared. I'm good at repairs and I'm under each snare. Intangible. Bet you didn't think, so I command you to. Panoramic view. Look, I'll make it all manageable. Spiritual hero who appears in you to clear your view when you're too crazy. Lifeless to those, the definition for what life is. Priceless to you because I put you on the hype shit. You like it? Gun smoke, you're righteous with one toke. You're psychic among those, possess you with one go.
I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. It's coming on, it's coming on.
The essence just the basics. Without it, you naked. Allow me to make this childlike in nature. Rhythm, you have it or you don't. That's a fallacy. I'm in them. I brought all this so you could survive when law is lawless. Right, feeling sensations that you thought was dead. No squealing. Remember that it's all in your head.
I ain't happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag.
Okay, I'm gonna have to sit with this one a little bit more, but I definitely loved it the first time. What's always really intrigued me about Damon's more hip-hop oriented songs is the features he tries to get. They always are by MCs that kind of sound more satire oriented, I guess. I'm thinking of guys like the people he featured on White Flag. I'm thinking of Dell on this track, and even potentially if they got Danny Brown on a song, he would fit that bill as well. Almost like an over-the-top on purpose style of delivery that they're doing for a reason, and it kind of makes them stick out in that way. That kind of delivery really seems to stick out to Damon, and I think it works incredibly well with the cartoonish vibe of a lot of their songs. The really ghostly synthesizers here did a great job making this track sound kind of eerie. And I love how as Dell's verses build up, the synthesizer gets louder and louder, and it seems to dig into your ear more and more, and then as it explodes into the chorus, it just goes away. I love the flow of 2D's chorus. He didn't show off much vocally in terms of talent, but it just works so well because the emphasis is obviously on the verses here, and they just work so freaking well, man. I can't believe how every time he takes a risk, it somehow works.
This is a breakfast club.
Prime example of Damon's incredibly complex and creative songwriting ability here. We go from track 6, Man Research, which felt fairly mindless to me. I liked the song, just not on a Gorillaz level. But now we have Punk, and I'll be honest, now that I've had it in my head, I just can't get the grunge influence out of my understanding of these songs. But he just brings so much to it. This little break with the 3 claps between each line is so infectious. 2D's vocals are somewhat muffled. It sounds like he's speaking into a microphone with a shirt wrapped over it, and it works really well with this track because it's kind of just meant to make you bob your head, I feel like. And the end is pretty interesting. Everybody's stirring it up because everybody tells me shut up. Let me know what that line is supposed to mean. It seems like Damon's a bit angry here.
Never let me down, jelly, never will me, never let me go, no, cover.
My enthusiasm level at the start of this song was all the way down here, and by the end, it was through the roof. I want to illustrate it by saying that this bridge, Gravity A on me, this is how they opened up the song, and to be honest, it just didn't do that much for me initially with 2D's really raw vocals. I didn't find them super compelling. But then we have this interlude that sets up the rest of the track, and the amount of musical components that entered the track here is ridiculous. First off, I love how it sounds as if you're in the middle of an airplane and you're taking off with the but then we have these synthesizer piano chords, and they work really well to add like a Game Boyish sound that completely contrasts with the sound I just mentioned. But then we have these like synthesizer piano chords, and they work incredibly well to dichotomize the vibe that the song had already set up. And then we get these like really short, brisk percussion samples, the pach, and then we have the harmonica that comes back. We have a slow and steady integration of the drums, and then we go to 2D's really mindless, repetitive chorus. But again, you're focused so much on the song itself, you don't care. And then we go back to the bridge, and you're hooked. This track is amazing. I might like it better than Clint Eastwood.
I know you like that. You wanna try that? It's like a flashback. So shake your ass crack. I got the boss to rock the salsa, funk the blueser, any groove to highly animated. Even though I'm decomposing, so if your feet is frozen, I'ma die to see you open. MC rhyme and the DJ spin. I want y'all to just get down. Now while the MC rhyming and the DJ cutting, I want y'all to just get down and do the aqua boogie. Win lots of goodies, baby. Pop the Gucci while the turntables is talking to me. It's awfully groovy, seeing all the treasure and the booty. And the MC rhyme and the DJ spin. I want y'all to just get down.
Here we go. The album's really starting to heat up now. The trumpet sample is bonkers. It's so flamboyantly celebratory, but at the same time, it kind of sounds ironic. And ultimately, this track in itself seems ironic to me. This idea of getting down, dancing to hip-hop, when in reality a lot of hip-hop is about killing and murdering people. And that theory could be true or not, but I think it goes in tandem with how silly the song itself sounds and how fun and cartoonish Del's rhyming is. Del has so much swagger the way he's delivering his lines. They're really fun in a super poised kind of way. He's not going too fast, not going too slow either though. It's almost as if his lines are pulsating and then he's thinking of them as he goes, and he just finds a way to hit that perfect note every time. And then this completely random flute sample comes in as well, but I honestly might like it better than the horns. And so now we go from this track to 19-2000, which is a song I've had tons of requests to do, so I hope this one lives up to the hype as well.
The world is spinning too fast. I'm bonded like issues to keep myself tethered to the days I tried to lose. My mama said to slow down, you must wear your own shoes.
Here you go, get the cool shoe shine. Get the cool shoe shine.
I'm not really sure how to feel about this one. I liked it a lot, and you have to take all my opinions on these first listen with a grain of salt because Gorillaz music is truly a grower. Every song, you can't form an opinion on it until you listen to numerous times, and I'm not the kind of person that usually says that, but with Gorillaz, there's just so many elements, the eclecticness of their music, and the way that the melodies just kind of dig themselves into your brain, but over time, they deserve that fourth, fifth, even sixth chance from you to justify their own ideas. I did really enjoy the boop, beep, boop sounds. It sounded like you're programming a robot. The drums are really hollow. I think it felt weird weird to me because the pattern they were going for would have sounded really fun if it was just a simple snare. But Damon likes to use these sounds a lot. I'm thinking of songs like November Has Come or even Last Living Souls. Overall, this electro vibe is something that I'm not super used to, but it was definitely really interesting to me, and I can see this song being one of my favorites after I've listened to it a bunch of times. Why did I like that so much? What a beautiful arrangement of musical elements and a truly compelling performance by this Spanish singer. I'm always pretty put off when there's no lead vocals from 2D on a song, but I loved his background vocals here as they laid the foundation for this guy's wailing over the top vocals. But my favorite part instrumentally was the shuffling percussions. And then we kind of have these awkward guitar strings that are not super loud in the mixing, but they do a great job rounding out the melody. And then we have yet another odd, what sounded to me like a really short brisk harmonica sample, but it could have been something else. I'm not super educated on those things. Oh, love that track, man. That one like kind of gave me like an emotional surge at points. One thing I find super interesting about this record when you compare it to GORILLAZ' newer work is that I feel like now it sounds a lot more like Damon Albarn doing everything, and on this record it really feels like he was trying to play into that, you know, fictional character thing. The guitar riffs, the little drum patterns, they're so much more quirky. They again just portray this idea of fantasy that while the newer GORILLAZ records do that in an entirely different way, this album just has an odd kind of strangeness to it that I think really defined GORILLAZ' sound, and it definitely laid a foundation for the weirdness that would ensue later in their career. I think this track is a beautiful depiction of loneliness and this eerie idea of just kind of never getting out of it. I don't know, it's just oddly relatable despite being repetitive and kind of straightforward, but it's done so well. Emotionally, this track is one of the best on the record, man.
Cool melodica in my soul. Get to water. Get what you're doing.
sonically just so in tune with the rest of the record, yet delivering a completely new style and sound. I'm so entranced by the like sounds of rushing wind gushing through your ears as the little drum 808 patterns just kind of riff over top of it. But then we have these really goofy synth chords, and I love how it just sounds like Murdoch or Russell is just pressing a button over and over again, like burn, burn. Again, it's just so much more in sync with this idea of Gorillaz being this wacky fictional band that is just making it up as they go. The interpretation of 2D on this record is a lot more sympathetic. He moans a lot more, but I actually think it builds his lore a lot better. Can't see this one being a favorite, but again, just building on the flow that the record has been creating throughout the entire runtime. The really raw, untamed rhythm of this song, as well as the kind of creepy atmosphere, really reminded me of Nirvana. Obviously, sonically, it sounds nothing like it. I really loved the sunburnt but really brisk guitarist, burnt. But then the drums are going crazy. It feels like they're just bouncing around in your head and you just don't know what to grab onto with your ears. 2D is just going crazy over top of this. I love the la 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 hey. And frankly, even though it drags a lot, the intro to the song is incredible. The subtle but crazy buildup of the instrumental to the eventual explosion as the song jumps into the first verse is one of my favorite moments on this entire album.
Some of us will never sleep again. Dracula, Dracula, Dracula.
Feel the impact.
Ugh.
家庭で毎日学習用のレコードを聴かせて音楽的センスを育てる。それによって上達も早い。The most important thing is listening the recording of the music. It makes them get musical sense. And also every day, every lesson, we have to make sure they learn about tonalization.
Oh, that was Gorillaz, the debut. Does this record compare to Plastic Beach or Demon Days? No. No, it does not. But you know what? I can really appreciate this album for what it is, and what it is the foundation, the introduction to a groundbreaking fictional band. I mean, come on. My favorite part about this album 100% is the depth of the lore, the world building that Damon is able to incorporate while making some pretty fantastic pop, rock, hip-hop, punk songs. It was very clear from the start that Damon was super passionate about this project. He just didn't know exactly where he wanted to take it, and I think that's why cohesively and sonically and just in terms of the genre bending that he has become so well known for, it just wasn't executed perfectly on this record like it is in his future efforts. But it is stunning how he's able to make compelling takes on all these genres while making a Gorillaz version of it, and again, making these songs something that you can enjoy only through Gorillaz outlets. Yeah, not an album that would go in the record books of my channel because of how great the album itself is, but I think the fact of what this album means to Gorillaz discography puts it in there just by itself. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, man. I appreciate you guys to no end. If there's anything that I did that, you know, you appreciated or enjoyed, going down there subscribing makes my day. It's the best way to support the channel. For you Gorillaz fans, what other kind of music do you like? What would you like to see me react to on my channel? I've been listening to a lot of older music lately, but of course, anything that a Gorillaz fan likes, I'm sure I'll like too, so be sure to let me know in the comments. With all that said, I hope you're having a blessed week. Thanks so much for joining me. I sincerely hope you'll join me next time. Happy listening. Gorillaz forever.